Use the good words. Use the words that, you know, you words and then people say, good word. Hello and welcome back to my channel, or hi if you're new. My name is Emma, complet grad, film student and your resident book hoarder. Yay! If you have been around these parts long enough, you know by the look of this pile, it's gonna be a long one. You know it's gonna be a long one, you know the drill. I'm gonna pause for you to go grab yourself a beverage, cup of tea, cup of coffee, cup of water, cup of wine. Glass of wine? Glass of wine. I'll hold. Conversations I've had recently with my dad where he's like,
why are you drinking out of the vase?
I'm not drinking out of the vase.
Why are you drinking out of the vase?
I'm not drinking out of the vase. It's a carafe. Actually.
Where did you buy it?
Yeah.
It's a vase.
It's not a fucking vase!
It genuinely is a carafe. I promise. So, some of you may have realised I haven't made very many videos this year. Well, I'm doing the last year of my master's degree. It's a 3-year course and it has been I have worked on back-to-back projects, which means I've had very little time for book buying, let alone reading. So this is my end of the year book haul and I shall address the large Christmas tree in the room. As you can see, it takes up the entirety of what is my normal filming area. My dad and I were like, we have high ceilings. We have high ceilings. We have high ceilings? We have high ceilings. So we thought a 7-foot Christmas tree was a good idea. It takes up a quarter of the fucking living room. It's worth it. You should see my dinosaur ornaments. My mum hates them. My friends hate them. I think they're excellent. My friend was like, Emma, I think you have taste. I'm like, yeah, I do. Have you seen these? It's on skis. You're here for the books. You know what, this pile is so varied as it is. I've just given them a tiny rejig, but we'll just have to see how we go with this. I will liaise on from one of my last videos with the fact that you guys influenced me back. Like, you guys influenced me back so fucking hard. I spent so much money because of your suggestions. This is a two-way street, okay? You guys are just as responsible for this. My last book video that I did was Atessa Moshfegh's My Year of Rest and Relaxation. You can watch that there if you haven't seen it already. And so yeah, I obviously bought her other two really famous books, Eleein and I bought Lapvona, because you guys told me to. But also obviously because I really enjoyed Rest and Relaxation. It kind of harrowed me in a big way. Yeah, it was excellent. So I picked up Eleein. This is her 2016 novel and it was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, which is pretty fucking impressive. So I was intrigued. I do use it as a marker of quality, but I also have no idea what this book's actually about. It looks wintry. The Christmas season offers little cheer for Eileen Dunlop. Trapped between caring for her alcoholic father and her job as a secretary at the boys' prison, she tempers her dreary days with dreams of escaping to the big city. In the meantime, her nights and weekends are filled with shoplifting and cleaning up her increasingly deranged father's messes. When the beautiful, charismatic Rebecca St. John arrives on the scene, Eileen is enchanted. But soon Eileen's affection for Rebecca will pull her into a crime that far surpasses even her own wild imagination. I don't know. Mystery? Everybody said it was good. I feel like maybe it's a little bit, and you'll notice this when I talk about Lapvona as well, there is something sharp about Moshfegh. I already love her writing style from what she did with Rest and Relaxation, so I am looking forward to this. I think now, knowing that it's more Christmassy, I will prioritise it. Ooh. A taut psychological thriller rippled with comedy as black as a raven's wing. The Times. The Washington Post said, a remarkable piece of writing, always dark and surprising, sometimes ugly and occasionally hilarious. I feel like the kind of is Moshfegh, of like what I've like got to know about her style so far, is somebody who's very like, she'll make it gross and she'll make it ugly, but in the way of her doing that, she does not shy away from the like gross nature of humans. not the gritty reality of being ourselves, but more like the unflattering, ugly bits of existing, but also making it funny. So that really appeals to me, and there's something very honest, and like the whole mirror thing that I talked about with rest and relaxation, like I kind of get that vibe from her, so I'd be really interested to see how it plays out in there. And then of course I followed up with her, is this 2022 or is it 2021? 2022! Hello! So this is a very recent, it's a hardback. I thought about the paperback, I did, but it's got the ugly stickers on it. I can't. Why do publishers put the stickers on that you can't take off? Please don't do that, you ruin it. Same with movie book covers. If I ever, sorry, when I adapt books into movies, that will be one of the things I dearly request, is please don't bastardize the poor book with giving it a horrific movie cover. If it has to have a movie cover, I'll make sure it's a fucking good one. Like that's one of these things I'd be like, I will write this into my contract, being like, no, don't ruin it. Please don't ruin it. I think it's actually a pretty good thing to write into a contract if you're a director adapting books and you care about this kind of stuff. I think I will do that. Okay, I know this isn't something I comment on often, but this cover is really cool. Her cover for Rest and Relaxation is honestly also really cool. I photoshopped myself into it, if you missed that. I don't have a lot of time on my hands and I still chose to do this anyway. I committed to the cause. Oh my god, wait. Book ASMR. In a village in a medieval fiefdom, good word, fiefdom, buffeted by natural disasters, a motherless shepherd boy finds himself the unlikely pivot of a power struggle that puts all manner of faith to a savage test, in a spellbinding novel that represents Tessa Mosheveg's most exciting leap yet. Yeah, so it makes more sense to read Eileen and then do this, right? Because then also she's a living author. It's new for me if you know that bookshelf. You can see her style evolve. How exciting. Anyway, little Marek, the abused and delusional son of the village shepherd, never knew his mother. His father told him she died in childbirth. One of life's few consolations for Marek is his enduring bond with the blind village midwife Ina, who suckled him when he was a baby, as she did for many of the village's children. Ina's gifts extend beyond childcare. She possesses a unique ability to communicate with the natural world. Her gift often brings her the transmission of sacred knowledge on levels far beyond those available to other villagers, however religious they might be. For some people, Ina's home in the woods outside the village is a place to fear and to avoid. A godless place. Among their number is Father Barnabas, the town priest and lackey for the deprived lord and governor, Willem. Nice. Whose Hilltop Manor, oh yeah, Hilltop Manor, yeah. Whose Hilltop Manor I am so predictable. Whose Hilltop Manor, no, serious voice. Whose Hilltop Manor contains a secret embarrassment of riches. The people's desperate need to believe that there are powers that be who have their best interests at heart is put to a cruel test by Willem and the priest, especially in the year of record drought and famine. But when fate brings Marek into violent proximity to the Lord's family, new and occult forces upset the order. By the year's end, the veil between blindness and sight, life and death, the natural world and the spirit world will prove to be very thin indeed. First of all, occult, also a really good word. Second of all, who the fuck wrote this blurb? That is one of the best written blurbs I think I've actually ever read. Yeah, that was pretty good. That actually sounds really good. Can I read this now? I can't. Do you want to know what I'm reading now? I've like half read like 4 books. I haven't finished Crime and Punishment. I haven't finished Thinking Fast and Slow. I haven't finished Regretting Motherhood. And I'm currently reading Erect, which is the 3rd book in Lauren Asher's Dirty Air series, which is it's a series of books set within the world of F1. I want to say I have shame, but I really don't. They're terribly written, but they are endlessly entertaining. This, I'm sure, will give me my literary fix. This is one that I know I will look forward to. So I feel like maybe, oh, I want to read it now. I want to read that now. Oh, why can't there be 5 of me? I want to read all of these. I am dead curious about this. It sounds quite fairy tale-y. Do you know what I mean? Thinking maybe along the lines of Angela Carter, like the Bloody Chamber and stuff. I'm quite interested to see then how Moshfegh does maybe something slightly more fairy tale and whimsical. Using whimsical in heavy quotation marks. But she, like Angela Carter, I can see them making it very, very fucked up. So I'm looking forward to it. Emma, why do you like all the fucked up books? I don't know, man. Okay, following that on. Basically, I really enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed it. But also, do you know what got me? The fact that it's one book. I have never been able to commit to reading Game of Thrones. My brother has read all of Game of Thrones. He told me so many times, Emma, they're excellent, read them. You guys know I have such an issue, I'm dyslexic, I have such an issue of committing to like a book series, but 7 books that are all this long. She says having read all the ACOTAR books, but that's not the point. If you have been living under a rock, Fire and Blood is the source material for HBO's House of the Dragon, or Hot D as they have been calling it, which increases me. Fire and Blood is essentially Targaryen dynasty backstory, written about the Dance of the Dragons, which is a Targaryen civil war between the Greens and the Blacks, with Rhaenyra Targaryen. I'm excited. I know what happens. I know what happens. I've watched so many of these like YouTube Game of Thrones backstory explaining videos, so I do know this world very well from like a story building perspective and a character perspective, but now I'm really, really curious to then obviously read this, watch the next season of the show, which I believe they have started shooting or they're going to, but we're not getting a new season until 2024, which, but, So it means I have until 2024 to read it. Or not, knowing me, but like, I'm excited about this. I had to have a conversation with a friend about this yesterday. One of my friends hates backstory. I was like, what? I don't know what it is, but I can't actually wrap my head around the fact that she hates that backstory. I love backstory, or like prologue stuff, prehistory, the original world building set before the story that you're doing. I love backstory. It's like learning secrets. Like it's that. There's something about it because I'm so nosy as a person. So like getting this kind of like you know, establishment of like why the world is the way it is or how it got to the current story, like that gets me. It fucking gets me. So this is so, yes. And I've never read anything by George R.R. Martin, and I have got more back into fantasy the last year thanks to ACOTAR. You know, no regrets. Centuries before a Game of Thrones, an even greater game began. One that set the skies alight with dragon flame and the 7 kingdoms turned to ash. So began the Targaryens' bloody rule, with fire and blood, setting brother against brother, mother against daughter, and dragon against dragon. Chronicled by a learned master of a citadel, the thrilling and bloody history of Westeros tells the story of where the battle for the Iron Throne began. I'm pretty sure it's also a master from a citadel, maester? Maester from a citadel? The nerds are gonna come for me. But it's also, isn't it set like with the court jester? So it's this whole thing that does infiltrate quite a lot into George R.R. Martin's. The way he does narrative is you have to always remember if it's being told from somebody's point of view or if it's being retold from someone else's point of view. Somebody is retelling a story from someone else's point of view and it gets a little bit meta. George R.R. Martin plays a lot with subjectivity. There is literally nothing objective in any of his Game of Thrones books, or in this, like what I've read about that, understood and been told about that. So there's a lot you can read between the lines there, which I think is quite interesting, which I think also then is the sort of thing that really is gonna like engage a reader, because it means that our subjective experiences of reading his work will always be different, because you know, you will pick up something in between the lines but somebody didn't, or you might both pick up something but you'll pick up something slightly different, and that's where you get a lot of like differences of opinion and you engage in it, and it's just a little bit more interesting because then every time that you read it and you engage with it, you will get your version of the story because of what you draw from it, which is obviously reading in general in terms of like the reader experience, but when you put in very deliberately unreliable and very subjective point of view, especially with retellings of retellings, it just gets quite like dense like that, which I just think is really, really fun and really, really interesting. You know, do yourself a favour, never forget that everyone's story is always told from a subjective point of view. Unless you're in literature or in film with more of an omniscient third person objective view, you'll otherwise never have that. You always have subjective points of view. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. Yeah, I have no idea when I'll read this. I will probably be prompted to pick this up when they start giving us premise up for season 2 of House of the Dragon. I know how I work, I know that's what's going to happen, but this is a welcome addition to my bookshelf. More modern literature. Ooh, I love the font. How many pages is this? Ooh. Oh yeah, Targaryen succession. I love. Is there a map? George Bestie, give me this. Oh, fuck me, there's fucking pictures. Are you shitting me? No way. Oh fuck yeah, there's fucking pictures. Fuck this, that's so fucking cool. Oh. Yeah. Oh my god, oh that's so exciting. Is there a map though? Oh. Bro, where's the map? Oh yes, inbreeding. Oh my god, you're telling me there's not a map? Oh my god, I can't believe there's so many pictures. My dude, how is there not a map? I cannot believe there are pictures in here. I am so excited. Why didn't they do this more? There is literally not a good enough reason not to put pictures in books. Like, I can't believe there's pictures in here. That is so exciting. But there's no map though. That's some bullshit. Continue on with the theme of buying books because I watched the TV thing of it. I bought Mindhunter. So me and my brother, one of my brother's like favourite things to watch together seems to just be serial killer related stuff. And he's just always so concerned. It's like, it's okay, it's not gonna happen to you. We fucking love Mindhunter. Mindhunter is the sort of FBI trying to figure out serial killers kind of stuff, who they are, how they think, patterns of behaviour, basically giving them like psychological profiles and trying to understand like the sociological, psychological makeup for people who commit serial murders. It's on Netflix, it's 5 seasons, it's also done by David Fincher, and it's one of the reasons it's so bloody good. I am a slut for well-made high-end TV, like, and Finch doing it is really funny because you can like see his style. If you watch enough of his movies, you're like, yeah, I see it. I personally think it's an excellent TV show. Do give it a watch. But my brother and I were watching that together, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy the book. Because would you believe there's a book about it? See, this is what I mean, right? About the... I can't take the sticker off. It's part of the book cover. Whoever approves this shit, you don't like books, so you don't belong in publishing. Mindhunter, inside the FBI elite serial crime unit. By John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. Pretty sure these are the FBI agents. They are fictionalized in Mindhunter the series, but they are real people, and this is really based on their experiences and their research setting up this unit. What makes a serial killer? John Douglas has looked evil in the eye, and sorry, this clearly needs more of a dramatic reading. What makes a serial killer? John Douglas has looked evil in the eye and made a vocation of understanding it. In Mindhunter, the FBI special agent who was the inspiration for Jack Crawford's character in The Silence of the Lambs, which I've never watched because it scares me, and who lent the film's makers his expertise, explains how he invented and established the practice of criminal profiling. He also discusses individual case histories, including those of Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, and the Atlanta child murders. With the fierce page-turning power of a best-selling novel, yet terrifyingly true, Mindhunter is a true crime classic. There's pictures. Oh. Yeah, so it's just the book that Mindhunter the series is based on, and it's the history of them establishing the sort of like serial killer shall we say, you know, the FBI. And if you've watched any of my videos long enough, or my book hauls, you will also know that I'm quite partial to any kind of like behavioural science. I find it fascinating. I'm a big fan. I've learned a lot about myself and about how other people function from reading that kind of stuff. You see a lot of it in what I call like finance bro books. I'm quite into these kind of books as far as my like non-fiction goes. Actually, now I look at this list, the rest of this list is non-fiction. The only fiction that I bought was Fire and Blood, Lapvona and Eileen. Let's carry on, kiddos. Something I haven't really mentioned online very much because I'm still like, I don't know, I'm still processing it, is that I got diagnosed with ADHD over the summer. Yeah, it took 24 years, but yeah. Yeah, so like I'm trying to understand my brain as things go. I'm gonna make an entire series of videos on this. I've written 8 videos on this and you will be getting them because I just need to, you know. And in an effort then to understand me better, to make my life just run smoother, a bit less painful, and also, you know, just hate myself a little bit less for how difficult certain things are for me when I feel like they shouldn't be. I like knowledge. I like buying books to make me feel better, to help me understand things. I bought Driven to Distraction by Edward, not Halloween, Hallowell and John Ratty. Reorganizing coping with attention deficit disorder from childhood through to adulthood. The essential reference that revolutionized our understanding of ADHD, now revised and updated. So this was originally written in 1994 and it was updated in 2011. From what I was researching online and stuff, this is a very good one to just give you a decent overview and a very general approach to understanding ADHD. I've also actually been spending a lot of time on r/ADHD and r/ADHD women. If you have ADHD and you want to learn more, really go have a look at those 2 Reddit threads. They are exceptionally good. Some of the stuff that I have read has genuinely just healed parts of my soul as we're going on. So just sort of understanding what this actually is, how it works, how it actually affects my day to day has just been really interesting and genuinely, yes, honestly, it's healing bits of me and it's just quite a nice feeling. There's still more work to do. There will always be more work to do, but this is part of it. Also, I like the science. I like having these kinds of books that are then backed up with like explaining the science, like explain the science to me. You know, knowing the why of like how this all works, especially like in your brain and stuff, is just fascinating. I guess that links into the fact that I'm such a big fan of like understanding behavioural studies and stuff. You know, it all links back in together. Grounding and comprehensive, Driven to Distraction has long been a lifeline to the approximately 18 million Americans who are thought to have ADHD. Now a best-selling book, revising the data, blah, 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 with current medical information for a new generation searching for answers. Through vivid stories and case histories of patients, both adults and children, Hallowell and Ratey explore the varied forms ADHD takes, from hyperactivity to daydreaming. They dispel common myths, offer practical coping tools, my favourite, and give a thorough accounting of all treatment options as well as tips for helping a diagnosed child, partner or family member. But most importantly, they focus on the positives that can come from this disorder. Includes high energy, intuitiveness, creativity and enthusiasm. That is very true, because the one thing I cannot do is fake interest. If you ever catch me being passionate about something, you better believe that it is true, because there is no way I care enough or I'm literally able to fake enthusiasm. Like, I care, it's nice, so. And I like the font. Chapters include what is attention deficit disorder, a child with ADHD, adult ADHD, ADHD in couples, ADHD in the family, subtypes of ADHD, steps toward diagnosis, I got mine, the treatment of ADHD, the biology of ADHD. That is quite interesting. If you also have ADHD and you have read any books that you highly recommend, do let me know. I'm very curious to hear any of those recommendations. And then I was watching Bay of Bays, Hannah Witten, but she made a video about ADHD in regards to relationships and sex, so I was like, does it affect that too? The answer is it affects fucking everything. So one of the books that she recommended was Ari Tuckman's ADHD After Dark, Better Sex Life, Better Relationships. This pioneering book explores the impact of ADHD on couples' sex lives and relationships. It explains how a better sex life will benefit your relationship, brackets, and vice versa, and why that's especially important for couples with one partner with ADHD. Grounded in innovative research, ADHD After Dark draws on data from a survey of over 3,000 adults in a couple where one partner has ADHD. Written from the author's unique perspective as both an expert in ADHD and a certified sex therapist, that's quite good. The book describes many effects of ADHD on couples' sex lives and happiness, covering areas such as negotiating sexual differences, performance problems, low desire, porn, making time for sex, infidelity, and more. The book outlines key principles for a great sex life for couples with ADHD and offers strategies and treatment interventions where specific issues arise. Yeah, and I guess because I'm not in a relationship, this is also easier for me to read right now. Right? This one doesn't smell as good as the other ones. This book just seems very, 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 very specific. The last of my ADHD books I bought recently was A Radical Guide for Women with ADHD. Embrace Neurodiversity, Live Boldly and Break Through Barriers by Sari Solden. You have to just get over the fact that it's from the self-help section and the fact that it tries to be kind of new age with it. Once you get past that, it is surprisingly useful. I think this book is branded and marketed in a very love yourself, learn, embrace, radical. That's just a bit wishy-washy. The actual content does seem to be more useful. This is actually a workbook rather than a book, which is what I was expecting, so it's not what I thought I was going to get, but that's my fault for buying things off Amazon. Impulse purchasing things off Amazon at 3 in the morning. Anyway, it basically has come in the format of giving you a bit of text, which I don't think you can see, and then giving you essentially places to write in your thoughts. It says radical guide. This is not what I've read 100 pages. This really is not particularly radical. In my opinion, maybe for other people they would have a different perspective on that. This is also very obviously aimed at wealthier white women. Wow. And definitely won't help if, you know, your ADHD is as extreme as struggling to hold down jobs and things like that. This is not going to help you with that. What this is doing though is leaning more into the emotional vein of this, in terms, I guess almost just the emotional damage that has been done to you as a woman over time because of your ADHD. Your experience as a woman with ADHD will be very different to your experience as a man with ADHD. For example, you know, just starting with the fact that women are a lot less likely to be diagnosed, and if they do, it's a lot later in life. I'm 24, because ADHD does look pretty different between genders. And the main thing from this, I guess, is the fact that it's really calling you out on like how mean I am to myself, how mean and just how cruel and unkind I have been to myself over the years because, you know, I struggle with a basic task and then I beat myself up over it, and then it affects, you know, your self-worth, your perception of yourself, all of those kinds of things, and how that sort of becomes this like negative spiral, and how that then very much damages your mental health. There are deep-seated links between ADHD, anxiety and depression, both of which I have experienced, so you know, it's hard out here, and especially because obviously women have a much higher tendency to mask and pretend like everything's fine when it's more like everything's fine. You know, it's basically giving me a prompt to do the emotional work. It'll be as much as you make of it. I don't think that everything in this book is good. I have rolled my eyes quite a few times, but like I said, I read classics. This is from the self-help section, so you do the maths. Next! Like I've said a bunch of times, I'm a big fan of behavioural science. I bought you're all gonna be what's wrong with you. I bought Johan Verbeeke's Diplomacy in Practice, A Critical Approach. This is written by a former Belgian diplomat. He was ambassador to the UK. I think his last post was actually ambassador to Washington, which is pretty fucking cool. So it's essentially a distillation of everything he has learnt, shall we say, over his long career. This book informs students about the practice of modern diplomacy while simultaneously inviting them to critically reflect on it. The work introduces a world of diplomacy from a practitioner's point of view. This is why I'm interested in it. Rather than listening to what diplomats say they do, the book looks at what they actually do. Diplomacy is thus approached through the lens of its manifold practices, from political analysis to policy shaping, from conflict prevention over conflict management to conflict resolution. However, the book not only aims at informing or instructing, but also, and primarily, wants its readers to critically reflect on diplomacy. It reviews recent ideas by posing questions such as, what does preventative diplomacy really mean? What is the place of transparency in diplomacy practice? And why is the relationship between law and diplomacy ambiguous? How come that our leaders have such a difficult time incredibly defending human rights? And why is conducting an ethical foreign policy a mission impossible? To tackle these and other questions, the book uses the tools of contemporary academic disciplines such as behavioural economics, game theory, social psychology, argumentation theory, and practical logic, among others. This book will be of great interest to students of diplomacy, foreign policy, and international relations, as well as those seeking a career in diplomacy and existing diplomatic practitioners and international analysts. As you all very well know, I am none of those things. What I do, however, is an alarming amount of diplomacy. Yes, on a film set, but there is a lot of politics on a film set. Let me tell you something. I have done a lot of crisis control, I've done a lot of crisis management, I have had to deal with a lot of sticky situations. They're obviously not of international significance, but I do think you can learn a lot from this because it takes it at extreme examples. So there's so much that you can learn from just reaching to things written, maybe not specifically for your area of work or interest or industry, but it's all about those sweet, sweet transferable skills, baby. I've told you guys this before. Now, the reason, again, that I'm really interested in this is because of the practical elements. I would never have picked up a book on diplomacy and foreign policy unless it was practical. Understanding how you can deal with a crisis, how you can deal with people when the stakes are so incredibly high, as they are with this, like, that's the best place to learn from, right? Part 1 of this book is The Organisation of Diplomacy. I don't really care about that. Part 3 is Diplomacy's First Call, International Peace and Security. Part 4 is The Normative Framework of Diplomacy. I do not care about that. I care about Part 2, A Diplomat's Conceptual Toolbox. Reasoning in Diplomacy and Exploration, Interactive Diplomacy, Game Theory and Rational Empathy, Logical Fallacies and Cognitive Traps, Concept and Principles in Diplomatic Thinking. This is really the bit that I'm interested in because you can apply those things a lot more than you think you can. I just think behavioural science is really fucking cool. And I just think that this could be very complementary. Am I going to read the bits about foreign policy? Probably not. Probably not. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get curious and just read 5 words and then be like, nah, I'm going to stay in my lane. But my lane is the practical side of things, so lovely. I want to tell you this video is almost done, but I have 4 books left. Here we go. I have 5. No, I have 6 books left. Oh my god. I'm going to talk about this very quickly. I bought this book, The Powerful and the Damned by Lionel Barber. It is about, the guy was the editor for the Financial Times. The FT. Lionel Barber was the editor of Financial Times for the tech boom, the global financial crisis, the rise of China, Brexit, and the mainstream media's fight for survival in the age of fake news. Lovely. However, this book is completely fucked. When I first opened this, I genuinely thought I was having a stroke or something. It was like, what is in my eye? And then the problem is I moved to like the next couple pages and it was still there. And only when I flipped to the rest of the book and realised it was actually fine, did I realise that this copy has a printing issue, which is just bollocks. And then I forgot to take it back and I don't know if I can get this refunded anymore. So I've never seen that with a book. Maybe they will still exchange it for me because it's been so long. I still have the receipt in there. But yeah, that was some bullshit that I didn't notice in the shop. You just can't read it. I genuinely thought I was having a stroke. I was like, what? Yeah, that was bizarre, man. On we go with the non-fiction. Now some history, baby. Those of you who've been around for a long time will actually know that, don't be fooled, I'm in fact Belgian. This is my second language, baby. So I'm Belgian, but my family's from Antwerp, so this is a history of Antwerp. Antwerp, the Glory Is by Michael Pye. In the 16th century, Antwerp was Europe's marketplace, a tolerant secular city governed by money. It was a spectacular place, a rogue's paradise where everything seemed possible. Exuberant, Pye creates a thematic mosaic drawing on a mass of accounts and original sources which reflect Antwerp's volatile, opportunistic, profit-grabbing ethos. Oh. before. And it's quite fun because we've done some of our like family history genealogical stuff through my dad's side. We can track our family tree back to the 13th century, which is pretty sick. And I think if we go through a maternal line, it goes to the 11th century. It goes back hella far, which is just like, it's mad. So I just wanted to know more of the history. And this book does have maps. So, also, you know, the fun thing about when you walk around Antwerp is the fact that it's a medieval city. So if you look at the map, a lot of it is, you know, still very fucking similar. Because it's an inland port, it's somewhere that, you know, you can shovel your shovel your boats there. It's also like the cocaine capital of Europe, because it's a shipping hub. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Like, Antwerp is the cocaine capital of Europe, which is... what? Like, I see why, but like, wait, what? But yeah, it's quite fun because I do know Antwerp quite well. So it's just, you know, you can read the history of a place and you can like 3D orientate yourself there, which is really, really cool. Which is very much how I felt about reading Daniel Defoe's Journal of a Plague Year when I was reading that, because he's describing London and some bits of like, especially more towards the city, like if you're on Fleet Street, Strand, going towards the city and stuff. You know, those streets are all still there, they have the same street names. You know, he was talking about Chancery Lane, that's where the KCL Library the Morn is, so I know that really well. He was talking more about Longacre, which is a street in Covent Garden, which is right around the corner from where London Film School is. So it's just quite fun because, yeah, you can like put yourself there and it's just a lot easier to like then mentally, even though you're reading like a history book, to like world build it up around you because like you can see it. That might be a me thing, but I do think it's quite fun. So yeah, I'm going to learn things. Would it kill historians sometimes to just tell a better story? We know that's why I love Mitford. Speaking of Mitford, what an excellent segue, Emma. Oh, that is a 10 out of 10. Speaking of Nancy Mitford, I bought Laura Thompson, Heiresses, The Lives of the $1 Billion Babies. If you didn't know, Nancy Mitford is a Mitford sister. I don't think she's in this, but it's part of that whole like world, you know? So this is non-fiction, chronicling the lives of various wealthy heiresses. Also, I have to say, the cover does again give me vibes of My Year of Rest and Relaxation. There are some elements of this that I will be incorporating into the film poster for my grad film, Where Colours Come From. The edit is almost done. Do bear with. Couture and diamonds, Chelsea townhouses and French chateau, priceless art and private jets. What is it really like to have it all? Mary Davis was a child bride and her 1,000-acre dowry of today's Mayfair and Belgravia gave the Grosvenors, I can never say that, their stupendous, well, excellent word. The American railroad fortune of Consuelo Vanderbilt, Duchess of Marlborough, sustained Blenheim Palace. Blenheim, well. The Daisy Fellows enjoyed parties, fashion, and other people's husbands. Without shame or conscience. Alice de Janzy shot one of her lovers and was suspected of murdering a second. Woolworth heiress Barbara Hutton married 7 times. Now, who does that remind us of? Evelyn? These women had everything, but why did so many struggle to live with so much? Did the removal of need render their life meaningless? Were they riven with guilt at all they had? I severely doubt it. Laura Thompson's witty and intelligent survey of the world of heiresses, glittering and exclusive but often sad and scandalous, searches for the answers. Yes, 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 I will enjoy this. I will enjoy this immensely. Like, I'm not being funny, but like, this is just fucking gossip. Like, that's kind of what this is, right? If you go like 19th century, or then also like earlier 20th century, especially at the interwar period, which is where Mitford really sort of focuses, Nancy Mitford focuses, you know, you got your Evelyn Waugh kind of stuff there as well, Brideshead, if you think about that. Like that just, ooh, that really gets me. Really, really enjoy that. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm assuming it's a similar sort of thing. Laura Thompson has also written a biography on the Mitford sisters. There's just something about that, and also these books are focused on women, but it's also, you know, this whole like world of extravagant wealth and elitism that's still mixed with like wealth and aristocracy, that kind of really, really closed gates, but like tightly closed gates. That kind of stuff that was only ever going to be accessible to you by birthright or marriage. Those were the only two keys to the kingdom. It is also these kind of themes that I would like to make some films on because I find it so interesting, and it's also fun because it's sparkly and it's gossipy. We like that. Humans are hardwired to enjoy that. I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of this. And again, it's more non-fiction. And there are pictures! Oh, I just want to live in a pretty house with lots of sparkly things. Is that too much to ask? Siri, play Material Girl. Actually, I think my phone might be in here. Siri? 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 Ah, Siri! Siri? Hey Siri! Play Material Girl.
Play Material Girl.
Okay. Oop. No. I bought Natasha Lunn's Conversations on Love. This is a collection of essays themed around love in regards to lovers, strangers, parents, friends, endings and beginnings. I gather this is quite a good book to read if you are a mid-20s girly. After years of learning that love was always just out of reach, journalist Natasha Lunn set out to understand how relationships work and evolve over a lifetime. She turned to authors and experts to learn about their experiences, as well as drawing on her own, asking, how do we find love, how do we sustain it, and how do we survive when we lose it? In Conversations on Love, she begins to find the answers. Philippa Perry on falling in love slowly, Dolly Allerton on vulnerability, Stephen Gross on accepting change, Candice Carty-Williams on friendship, Lisa Tado on the loneliness of loss, Dina Evans on parenthood, Emily Nagoski on the science of sex, Alain de Botton on the psychology of being alone, Esther Perel on unrealistic expectations, and Roxane Gay on redefining romance. I have read Emily Nagoski. I have her Come As You Are, that's what it's called. It's called Come As You Are. I've read Alain de Botton's Course of Love. I did not enjoy that book. If you watched that video, you know I did not enjoy that book. He's the guy who does all the School of Life stuff, and now I can't stand those videos. I don't know what I did to myself, but I now cannot. And Roxane Gay as well. I've read her Bad Feminist. Or I read one essay in it and then told myself I'd read the book when I'd read one essay. Oh yeah, and Dolly Allerton obviously has that book, which a lot of people have been buying in conjunction with this. I am a big fan of essays. You know I'm a big fan of essays. I'm sure teenage me would keel in horror hearing that, being like, you like essays? What is wrong with you? I'm like, honestly, they are just self-contained bits of thought, and I love that. Like, it's very, 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 yes, especially a well-written essay. I'm like, yeah, you know, be stylish with your words. Be stylish with your words. Use the good words. Use the words that, you know, you words and then people say, good word. I do just think these kind of books, like Conversations on Love, and I guess especially for me right now, ADHD After Dark, I think these are good books for me to read right now because I'm not in a relationship. Like, I can only reflect the content in these books back on myself rather than on my current partner. So it's very much one of those things where
I love me.
Not because I love or don't love you, it's about me. I mean, I guess especially for me, as this year I've been so busy, the dating was flicker completely went out the window. I went on an abysmal amount of dates this year, and the dates I did go on were just spectacularly bad. That wasn't even the last book, but yeah, it's rough out here. What? This, I fucking hate dating. It's a book, this counts. A Court of Thorns and Roses colouring book. I bought this for my friend as a birthday present, and I immediately also bought myself one. I got my friend very, very into ACOTAR after she had surgery and all she could do was read. I have no regrets. I'm like, yes, excellent. ACOTAR is just one of my guilty pleasures. I really enjoy it. The book is not perfect, the world building is not perfect, there are flaws, but you know what? I don't give a shit. It has porn in it. Not just porn, it has fairy porn in it. Why do you think I read the F1 books, for God's sake? There's a running trend here. Yeah, the running trend, Emma, is that you're reading romance books so you haven't dated anybody this year, but let's not. That was unnecessary. Yeah, so it just, you know, it has pretty pictures in it that you can like colour in because it's a colouring book. I'm just excited to just do something a little bit more relaxing, and that's about it. I enjoy ACOTAR, I enjoy world building. There's a fucking colouring book, you bet your ass I'm gonna buy it. Take my money. That's enough. This video is a million years long. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed my ramblings on why I have purchased all of these books. Over time you will eventually get said reviews. If there are any that you would like dedicated book reviews to, do let me know. As ever, let me know down below if you have read any of these, purchased any of these, and what your thoughts are. I'm always curious to hear them. It's one of the really fun things that I like about doing this specifically, is just engaging with you guys. You lot are really smart, and you have some very insightful things to say, and it's one of my favourite things to do is read your comments. So keep them coming. So yeah, that's everything from me. Thank you very much for bearing with. Thank you very much for watching. I have an exceedingly long list of videos I would like to make, so one day when I get a break they will come to fruition. Like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I will hopefully see you very soon. Goodbye. Grounded in innovative